So in the last video I posted about character names, I went over how you create names for all your characters, your NPCs and the like. This time round, if you're stuck for a name for a building, a shop, a town, a city or a world, I may have the answer. So you're a writer, an RPG player, or more likely a DM, and you need to come up with names for your locations, your city, your world, but also shop names and anything in between, things that are not people, basically. Well, there's a lot of ways of doing it, and obviously you can use all of the ones from the previous, the name generators and so forth. You could name a land Sarah. There's no reason why you can't. I'm from the world of Desmond. You know, there's no reason why you can't. I mean, somebody called this place Earth. I mean, it's the worst name ever, surely. I'm from Earth. Where do we get Earth? Who? They really should be slapped. It's a terrible name, and we're all stuck with it. If we ever go somewhere else, please do not let anybody that's going to call it Earth 2 be in charge of naming planets. If they're going to call it Desmond, it's better. I've never struggled to come out with names, as I said before. If I just look at something and go, that is a box called, I've got Desmond stuck in my head now, but it's the box for the mics to go in. So it would be Comsty. You would just call it Comsty. First word that comes to your mind, because it's a communication box. Combok. It is Combok. Break it down. Join two halves. What it is, what it means, is an easy way to come up with a place name or whatever. If it's a rock and a hard place, you would call it rock. You just make it rockard. You just take off the H, like you did before with the taking the first letters off of something. Take the two words that they are, join them together. Take the first and last bits off and join it together. Obviously, you have Star Wars, has so many names for so many planets and so many places. Hoth, Tatooine, Coruscant. Names go on, there's millions of them and all that. They've all come up from something. The easiest way to do it, obviously, is name it after somebody. Name the planet after your best friend or your partner or whatever. So should your partner be called Trevor? You call the planet Trevor. You just extend it. Or Revot. You know, take the first letter off, put it on the end. I'm from Revot and he's from Trevor. They're twin planets and full of people with ginger beards. I don't know why Trevors have ginger beards, but in my mind, Trevors have ginger beards. And Trevors and Revots do too. It's just as simple as doing that, really. Just ramble on, think things through. I need a planet name, and it is a person's name. It is an object name. It is taking two objects, joining them together, cutting the words off the thing. Anything will do. But there are other ways of doing it. For a quick recap, you can still do all of those character names for places. You can bang the keys and see what you come up with. Take out some of the letters and the numbers and whatever and turn them into vowels and so forth. You can shift the whole word to the right or to the left and come up with different names, almost like a code. You have a new name. There are anagrams. Power names don't necessarily work. The object names, so candle, wing, chain, whatever, don't necessarily work for a city or a planet or so forth. They work better for people. You can obviously still use name generators. You can ask ChatGPT to give you a name for a random planet, or you can go on to Donjon, as I recommended previously, and ask and search planet names or names in general. You can be factual. You can go into Wikipedia and look up planet names. Most of them tend to be TS21764332A. Any of these things will work. This is a list of words that go on the end of a word to tell you what kind of place it is. Places like Ton, Ham, Berry, Street, anything like that can be added to any word, and you can just then make it into a village, a city, a town, a borough, a region, a land, or a world. Certain words have certain meanings, obviously. Ton is an abbreviation of town. Something starts off as a village. The smallest villages are hams, villages without a church or any kind of religious thing. If your land doesn't have religious things, using ham isn't necessarily going to be practical. But if it's medieval Earth that you're basing in, ham is a village with no church. You then it becomes a town. It then becomes a borough and then a city. And then it becomes a shire, and then it becomes a region, and then it becomes a land or a dom, kingdom, queendom, principality. Then it becomes a country, then it becomes a continent, and then it becomes a world. It grows from one tiny little thing, getting bigger and bigger and wider and wider. If you need a name, you need a word, you need, let's name it Bear. Bareham, Baringham. It could just be a long one road, and so the road would be a street, so you could have Bear Street. It could be on top of a hill, a berry. A berry is a settlement on top of a hill. B-U-R-Y or B-E-R-R-Y. A berry's more like a medieval place that has religious connotations. As I said, a borough. A borough is a bigger area. We have borough in London. There's a region to itself, but we have the borough of Camden and the borough of Kensington, and it's an amalgamation. London is made up of many little villages, hundreds of villages, that are then segregated into districts and parishes and boroughs. So you can do that as well, the parish of Bear. So you can have Bear Street, Bear Berry, Bear Borough, we have Bareham, or it could be near a river. And if it's near a river, it's probably near somewhere you can cross a river. And the place you can cross a river is called a ford, like the car. So Bareford, Bareford. If you're from any of these places, let us know in the comments down below. Another kind of town is Cester or Chester. So Bearchester, Bearchester. It'd abbreviate down, eventually you lose the R in most of these, so it'd be Bearchester. It could be a fortified city with walls around it. So it could be barefoot, either barefoot, Barefort. It could be on the way between two places. So it could be between Polar and Grizzly, and this would be way, Bearway. A pond. A pond means it is either next to or over a river or on a hill that's already got a name. So Bear upon the river Grizzly, Bear on the Grizzly. Bearminster. A minster is like, it's kind of the opposite of a ham. A minster is a big church. So if there's a minster, then you have Bearminster. Like street, you can have lane. You can have Bear Lane. Bear Bottom. If it's at the bottom of a hill, rather than being on the top of a hill and being a berry, if it's at the bottom of a hill in a valley, Bear Bottom. Another hilltop, and probably if there's a church on top of a hilltop, you'll know this from Glastonbury. Beartor. If it's a walled town rather than a fortified town, you could just do Bear Wall. Again, you can do the on, but you lose the upon and you just have on. So bear on, bear off, bear on, bear off. Set as in like Badger's set. It's kind of a village, an area, a location. Bear set. Near the mouth of a river going into a lake or a sea, mouth, Bearmouth. Bearmouth. A county is a large section of land accumulating many cities, towns, villages, so forth. And so you have Bessex, Essex, Nossex, Wessex, Sussex. Sex means county, Bearsix. A steer is a course of water, a river, a stream. It's the way the water is steered, so you have steer. The town is on an island that has changed the course of the water. It will probably be Bear Steer, and abbreviated down even more, older names, you can make it Stir. If you have a big city, quite often you'd have settlements nearby for the people that can live in the cities. In time that becomes a settlement, has stronger buildings and whatever, and you would end up with by. So you would be Bear by Grizzletown. Or, really obviously, the most obvious one probably is land, Bearland. It's the land of the bears. So Bearland is where you go if you think you're going to see bears. So Bearland. There we go. Let's put you back. Of course, you don't have to your name even make any sense. You can quite literally call... This is Rosie, character from my current book I'm working on. This is Rosie. And you could say this is Rosie, but spell it R-H-E-D-G-P-N. The Celts and the Gaelics got away with that for forever. You know, Siobhan makes no sense. Character names and place names don't have to be spelt the way they're read. You look at it and go, we're looking for Rockerden. And people are like, no place around here called Rockerden. Rosie's over there. You show them the thing and they read it and go, yeah, it's Rosie. Because RH is an O and GFPN is SCIE. Rosie. So she could be called Rosie. Perfect example of that is right here in London. We have the Thames, the River Thames, Thames. You just know it's not the River Thames, unless you're an idiot, of course. It's the River Thames. And a lot of place names in London have lived for so long that they've gradually changed names. A couple of 100 years back, where people started to learn to be able to read and write, the character names and names of places shifted slightly and the alphabet changed. And so you end up with this thing where a place has a name but it doesn't quite read the same as it should do. You end up with Leicester, but it's Leicester. Lei, Cester. Shires are not pronounced Shire, they're pronounced Shire. One of the best known one is Worcester, but it's Worcestershire. That's so many things. It's the town of War. It was probably Chester reduced down to Cester. It grew from a town. It named the county around it Worcestershire, and they make a sauce. And it's not called Worcestershire sauce. It's Worcester, and that's why it just says Worcester sauce on here, because no one says Worcestershire. The last one is one I alluded to in the previous video, and I had a few comments on. Terry Pratchett was a master of coming up with names, weird names. He used a lot of the things, the Gaelic names and the play on words and so forth. And one play on word is a great one for shop names and place names. You need a shop and you want to either reference something or take the P out of it. You could take simple things like American bookstore, Barnes and Noble. You can take that and do close by names. A barn is somewhere you keep cows, so cow house, a house for cows. A noble is a lord or something regal, or a king. Cow house and king. You can name a shop by obviously what is in the shop. If the shop sells herbs and spices, call it herb and spice. But you could call it marjoram and paprika. Marjoram and paprika is a bit long. You may take it down. Marjorica. Star Wars it. Take the first half of marjoram and the end of paprika. Marjorica. Simple. This is one of my favourites to do. You come up with some really random things. So, first things I find. Baby. That's a good name for a shop on its own. Baby head and weight. Baby head and weight. Scottish for baby is bairn. Bairn head. Skull. Bairn skull and kilo. Bear skull and kilo. You have a shop name. What do you find? What did you pick up? What random object did you pick up and create a shop name? And what do they sell? There's the next thing. What they sell, that's a whole different thing. If you have the shop name and you don't know what they sell, well, they obviously sell children's skulls in kilo weights. They sell small skulls by the kilo. Oh, there's a story. There's a whole book unto itself there. Baby skulls sold by the kilo. Yes, so I hope this was fun and entertaining and useful and helpful. Baby Skull and I are now going to go and walk the Chimera in the dark. If you're stuck for a town name or a city or a planet or whatever, try one of these. So yeah, I expect a list of names of towns and so forth in the comments down below. Screenshot the list of town ending names and city ending names, and I will be back next time. If you want to see something or you want help come up with names for something else, then do say so. Leave me comments, give me suggestions. Create creatures and random objects are also a possibility. Hit subscribe if you want to see more of these random videos, and I'll see you soon. Bye. you could just name it after the character. Yeah. It is Fredville Parcels. Fredville Parcels. That's his name of the shop. That was just a name that came out of my mouth. I'm going to go and write random books about baby skulls. I'm not. It's a weird thumbnail. A bottle of Worcester sauce and a random girl in the school uniform doll.